Hey guys, Earl at Sumo Bully Kennels back at you with another episode of Hot Topics. Today is something I get frequently asked from friends, associates, and just pet people in general. So I kind of wanted to address this on Hot Topics. It is 10 tips on bringing home your first puppy, right? So typically, when you get a puppy, they come home anywhere between 8 and 12 weeks, depending on the breeder that you are dealing with. And so I get asked this a lot, and I wanted to kind of go over this. Really quick, guys, before I get into this topic, this episode is brought to you by NuVet. The only supplement we use on our yard, it is NuVet Plus and NuJoint Plus DS to make sure that our dogs are healthy. So anyhow, here we go. So number one, right? This is top 10 tips. Number one is understanding where your puppy came from, right? Are you purchasing a puppy from a home breeder? Are you purchasing that puppy from someone who accidentally had a litter? Are you purchasing the puppy from an established breeder, a puppy mill? Whatever the case may be, it's neither wrong or right. You just have to understand how where this puppy is coming from, and how this puppy has been weaned, right? And so knowing the environment that your dog came from is very important, because when you take that puppy at 8 to 12 weeks, you're going to transition this puppy into your home. So number one, understanding where it came from. That way you understand what the dog is currently used to, right? Apologies for my phone ringing. Okay, so number two, now that you know where this puppy came from and what the puppy is used to, my number two thing is preparation, right? What do I mean by that? Preparation is, depending on your living situation, whether you're in a house, an apartment, a condo, whatever it may be, depending on the size of your home or your yard, whatever your setup may be, it's being prepared. So number one is the housing of the dog. Where will the dog stay? My advice is that you create a little area where you can gate it off for this puppy to know that that's their place. And I would definitely recommend that you train a dog. It's very important for travel, for when you take your dog to the vet, and if you got to leave your dog there. So crate training, so the dog doesn't freak out when you put him in a crate, is very important. So definitely, if you're bringing home a puppy, get a crate and establish an area where the dog can be. Part of preparation is the housing of the dog, the food. Definitely have the food ready. When we get our pups at 8 to 12 weeks old, they're typically already eating kibble and hard food. Definitely cleaning supplies, puppy pads, because just like human babies or any kind of babies, these puppies are not going to be potty trained, and they have no manners, and they will poo. If they eat, they will poo, I promise you. And so it can become a hot mess really, really quick. So being prepared, number one, is the housing and the area where this dog is going to stay. I don't recommend you let your dog run wild throughout your whole house or apartment or whatever your living situation may be. You will find yourself frustrated. Two is having the food ready and cleaning supplies, right? Puppy pads, disinfectants, wipes, whatever you like to use in your cleaning protocols. Or if you don't have a protocol, definitely establish one. Okay, which brings us to number three, right? Having that space prepared, preparing your family for the puppy to come home. If you have kids, if you have other pets, if you have a cat, a gerbil, another grown adult dog there, your wife or partner, whatever the case may be, number one is preparing, your household and current family dynamics to bring a puppy home. Two, now that puppy is coming into your home, right? And you're going to create a space for it. Now it's introduction to your family. Now, mind you, this puppy is 8 to 12 weeks old. It's still a lot of growing and learning to go with this puppy. Puppies at this age can be very bitey and nippy. Just because of their teeth, they're teething, they will be teething. They just don't have boundaries yet. So that introduction to your family is very important, a slow transition, and not allowing that puppy to just do whatever it wants. Because if you get a large breed dog, like it for us, we're in the XL American Bully lane. That puppy that's you bring home that's 18 pounds in a year's time will be 100 something pounds. So it's important to introduce that puppy to your family properly. Number 4, establishing boundaries. And everybody that I know, all my friends and family members are very, very guilty of this one. Establishing boundaries with a puppy, just like I said in the second step of creating an area for the puppy can be allowed to be in. Establishing boundaries means until this dog matures and understands the rules of the house and the rules of interaction and engagement with other pets and family members and small children even, definitely establish boundaries. Don't allow that puppy to get on the couch. Don't allow that puppy to jump on the bed with you. All these things that we find cute because we love our animals and we love them beside us, it's not a good idea. And let me tell you why. A puppy up till about a year and a half, where they're still kind of like adolescents and teenage years, will sometimes develop separation anxiety, which they'll bark, whine, destroy things. Right around 5 to 6 months, they'll start teething. They'll want to bite things because they're losing teeth and their adult teeth are coming in, which means, you might have a $1,000 couch, you might have a $10,000 couch. It's not going to end well for you if you allow this dog to claim that area as an area that he's allowed on. So establish that early, the boundaries of where they can go, what they can do, is very important. For example, we have a 22-month-old male that will not get on a couch, will not jump on the bed. He knows, he has his dog bed. Occasionally he can come in the family room and lay on the rug, and that's his limits. He will not jump on a coffee table, jump on the family dining table to beg for scraps and food. These are the boundaries I'm talking about. So it's important that while you're eating, if you allow the dog to be free while you're having dinner or lunch, that you don't feed this dog scraps, because the dog learns to beg and wait there for food and knows that this behavior becomes rewarded. And puppies will jump up and be rambunctious. And if you reward that with table scraps or a treat, you're reinforcing a negative behavior that you may regret when this dog becomes bigger. Okay? So, where are we at now? Number 4, let's go to number 5, guys. So establish boundaries before we move on. Number 5, feeding schedule consistency. This is very big. I typically feed dogs twice a day. For puppies growing, and when I get adults, I'm good with feeding them once a day after about 20 months. However, twice a day works for me. It works for my life, for my schedule. Feeding schedule is very important for puppies because of the pooing and the peeing schedule, right? So you get a puppy home, they are not housebroken. They will pee and poo wherever, if you don't let them out. And sometimes, even if you let them out, they'll come back inside and pee and poo, which is very frustrating. And as many dogs as I had all my life, I've learned to establish that a regular feeding schedule and consistency goes hand in hand with number 6, which is bathroom, walks, and going outside. So typically in the morning, I let the dogs out right away. I feed them and I let them out again. Same thing at night. Let's say I got home from work, the first thing I do is let them out, come in, let them settle down, I feed them, and then I let them out again. And then I let them out again at least one more time before I go to bed. Establishing this gets the dog programmed. And believe it or not, dogs are very intuitive. They learn your schedule more quickly than you think. And doing this will enforce that schedule over time, and the dog will learn your schedule and understand what it needs to do. So again, I'll refer back to my adult male. He's the only dog allowed free roam in my home because he will not get on furniture. He will not use the bathroom. And in fact, if you're late letting him out, he'll let you know. He'll start like pawing at things, pawing at the door, because he knows he's not supposed to use the bathroom outside. But that's a more adult dog that's been programmed for over 20 months, right? So getting a dog home, don't be frustrated. The dog's going to have accidents. It's going to pee, the puppy. It's going to poo where you don't want to. It's going to chew things that you don't want it to. And that's why I said establishing that schedule and the boundaries and an area where that dog can be safe, where it can't chew and damage things or ingest something that may cost you veterinary bills to have this thing, pumped out of its stomach. It's very important, guys. Which leads us to number 7, understanding your puppy, right? This was a big one for me. I'm 47 years old now. I've had dogs all my life. Understanding your puppy. What kind of temperament of puppy do you have? Dogs' personalities will start to show very early. Some dogs have a very strong toy drive, prey drive. Some dogs are very food motivated. Other dogs could be affection motivated, right? So, not in a particular order. However, for me, a dog with a high toy drive, very easy to train. Because I get the squeaky thing, whatever that puppy likes, you can guide the puppy into the cage or whatever you're trying to teach this puppy, as long as it's locked in on that toy. Another thing is food drive, food and treat drive, right? So if you have a puppy that's very food motivated, that to me is an easy dog, because you have food and you have treats, and you can shape the personality of the dog with the food and treat. Some dogs are affection driven. They just want all the attention, not so big on food, not so big on toys, which is okay as well. However, that dog is a little bit more difficult for me, because that's the kind of dog that's going to develop separation anxiety and be destructive when you're not home. And that's the kind of dog that I definitely would kennel when I'm not home, because I'm not trying to buy a couch every other week, if you get what I'm saying. Those are 3 basically general type of dog personalities you're going to see. What concerns me is an overly dominant dog is another one for me, which can be a problem if not corrected. If you had dogs all your life, you can probably correct it. If you're a new dog owner, you probably should get some help. Or a dog that's a very skittish. A very timid, scared dog is alarming to me, because on 2 ends of that spectrum, you have a dominant dog and a skittish dog, right? Either one of those 2 dogs has the potential to bite. I'm not saying it will, but it has a potential. One bites out of dominance to show its dominance. The other dog bites because it's scared. It's a defense mechanism. So be careful when you meet these puppies. They're very cute. See the personality of the dog, right? And there's no personality of a dog that's wrong or right. It just depends on who you are, your experience as a dog owner, and what your preference is going to be. All right. So now let's get to number 8. Discipline, routine, exercise, and affection. So for me, number 1 is discipline. Discipline encompasses boundaries, limitations, and things like that. Routine, we went over the feeding, the pooing, the stuff to basically, the dog gets older and all dogs will become automatic at some point, right? They know when to go out. They know to use the bathroom outside. Exercise, right? A dog that is cooped up all day and is not getting to stretch its legs is that they need to release that energy, right? So a dog that's not properly exercised or doesn't have the access to run around and be a dog those things can, that energy that's not released can manifest into destructive behaviors. And that's what I've seen in my experience of all my life of having dogs. The last thing is affection. It's okay to love our dogs. However, affection should not come before discipline, routine, exercise. Affection is the last thing you give to your dog when the dog actually behaves and conforms to the rules and regulations that you set for your home. You are the leader of your pack. That dog has to follow you. You do not follow that dog and what that dog wants, right? You're the responsible person, the owner of this dog that provides the care. That dog needs to understand how to conform to what you want it to conform to. So I hope that makes sense. Number 9, reward versus discipline. I'd rather reward a dog for doing something well versus hard corrections or no, don't, stop that. You know, for me, I'd rather reinforce positive behaviors with treats and affection, whatever your dog likes, versus always the negative correction of discipline. However, discipline is sometimes necessary, especially with dogs 1 year and under. They can get very rambunctious and not know their boundaries and limitations, which if you haven't set that early on, now you got this problem, right? Lastly, I recommend basic training for everybody, and leash training. That's the most basic training that you can get for your dog. You can do it as a group. You can get privates, depends on your situation. If you are not an experienced dog breeder, right? So if this is your first time dog or whatever, and you don't know how to quite do it, one, there's a ton of content on YouTube that you could see and watch, and there's a lot of great channels out there for this. 2, if you want some hands-on, maybe you do 2 or 3 sessions hands-on, and then from there you're kind of getting the gist of it and understanding your dog more, and therefore you're like, okay, the rest of this I could do, watch YouTube channels and reinforce the behaviors. Or 3, hire a professional, right? If you have a difficult dog, which sometimes can happen, and you have a dog that's going to become a large breed, and you know what? Let me take that back. Not just that. I've seen some small dogs that are terrorists that'll bite you. I mean, they're just, mean. So, getting a professional help is not a bad idea. I would exhaust all my avenues first of basic training, watching YouTube videos. If you still are struggling with the dog, then definitely I recommend getting professional help. It's a short amount of time, right? And the expenses, you may not have budgeted for those expenses, right? But think about it this way. Dogs can live anywhere from 6 to 15 years, right? And maybe you invest 3 months with a personal trainer or a group training. Those 3 months is a well-spent investment of time and money for this dog to behave correctly for your family for the next 8 to 15 years. So to me, it's a small price to pay for the overall life of the dog, to enhance your relationship with the dog and the quality of the dog's life, right? Because you're frustrated, the dog's frustrated. And what you're trying to do is find common ground and let this dog understand that you are the leader of this pack. So either way you go, definitely, if you're getting a dog, a pup, certainly don't discount getting at least basic training and leash training, maybe group classes, maybe a couple of sessions of privates, or maybe you're a very intuitive person and you do everything on YouTube. That works too, but definitely put into the time, because whatever time you don't put into your dog, you're going to see that. Or on the reverse side of that, whatever time you put into your dog is going to benefit that owner and pet relationship, right? And a lot of times these dogs are more than just a pet to us, they're family members. So think about it that way. How much do we love our dogs? What do we spend on them? And early on, while they're young and impressionable, is the time to do this kind of training. So with that said, guys, those are my 10 tips, which I know was not short, but it is a lot to cover because a lot of things can go wrong. Shoes can get eaten, furniture can get destroyed. An unchecked dog can cause problems for your guests, small children, other pets in the home, strangers when you're walking them. Dog aggression. You don't want to have to be that person that everyone crosses the street when they see you and your dog walking because they're scared of you or your dog because the dog is misbehaving, right? The dog is a reflection of you and the time that you put into it. So in summary, guys, definitely before making a decision to get a puppy, do your homework. Listen to these 10 things I told you. And even when you do all this, you're not guaranteed that it's going to go 100% your way. However, you eliminate at least 90% of it, all right? So with that said, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. This is Earl with Sumo Bully Kennels. I'll catch you on the next one.